Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Devotion. Whoa, we're having some technical issues here. A great morning, Monday morning to you, September 21. Happy that you're here, part of this ever-growing family. Always enthused to see you at 7 in the morning. So Margaret and Donna and David, wow, you make this day special. You make each and every morning special. Not only just by showing up, but by caring one for another, bearing one another's burdens, and being everything that we need to be in this day. So thank you for being here Monday, September 21, and I hope you have a blessed day and a wonderful day. Got a few technical issues because we have Tropical Storm Beta approaching us right now, and it's been a wild morning around here. So I may be here, I may not be here. I don't know. We're going to see where we're going the next few days with this. So tune in, say a prayer. Say a prayer for all those affected um, by Hurricane Laura, Hurricane Sally, and it just, the list goes on. And I'm thankful, very thankful for you being here today. Um, a big announcement. Yes, finally, the book on prayer, the audio format that I recorded, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months ago now, it has finally hit the waves. So that's been the big news over the weekend. So you can get the book on prayer on in print version, Kindle version, and also now Audible and whatever listening platform that you utilize. So thankful for that. Thankful, Cameron. Thank you for helping me, Daniel. Thank you for helping me get that out today. When God won't answer, I think that's a common problem for people of faith. When God won't answer. What do we do when God does not answer us? You look at Elijah praying on Carmel. He prayed a 63-word prayer, and I mean, fire fell from heaven. That's an answered prayer, a short prayer. But then he prays again and again and again and again. So Connie and Rebecca and Kimmy and Ruthie, am I ministering to you? And again he prays. It was not until the seventh time he prayed that God seemed to answer him. It like 6 times nothing happened. Sort of like Naaman going down in the Jordan River. 6 times nothing happened, but it was the seventh time. Or was it the cumulative effect of each of those 7 prayers? Yeah, what's up with that? We were in a race recently. It was a difficult race. Oh, it was difficult. Racing from one place to the next. One of my granddaughters was in her vehicle. Another was in her parents' vehicle. And the granddaughter behind me said, Pops, we're in a race. We've got to beat them. So we're racing. And whether the others knew we were racing or not is debatable. But anyway, traffic lights impeded our race course. Yeah. And so we stopped. And my granddaughter started praying, Lord, let the light turn green. And it did. And for the next few lights, they stayed green. And she just believed God was answering her prayers. But then we came to a light that turned red, and she was in the back. Lord, why did you let that light turn red? God let that light turn green, and nothing happened. And her prayers got a little more ferocious. She said, God, I beg you to let that light turn green. We're losing the race. And nothing happened. So she screamed a little louder, and then nothing happened. And then finally, when the light turns green, she said, "Well, finally." And and isn't she asking the question people of all ages have asked? Why won't God answer me? I've heard that question from the young. I've heard that question from the old. Prayed with people who have insurmountable issues, and they've asked, "Why won't God answer me?" And my thoughts on that subject could fill a book. It is one of the chief elements of Point of Low Points. Oh, by the way, shout out to the admin team. 1,000 Point of Low Points have individually been sent out to people in the path of Hurricane Laura. Thank you, those of you that requested it, and thank you for our office staff who actually have mailed them all out. If you haven't got your copy, you should soon. We are having to buy a few more copies to fulfill all of the requests. So thank you. Thank you for asking for it. I hope it blesses you. And thank you for our office team. Shout out to Cameron and Autumn for all their hard work with that. Why won't God answer me? So it's in that book, The Point of Low Point, but it's a common theme of what I discuss with you and with others. When God doesn't answer us, there may be a few reasons. One of those reasons, it just seems that he's not answering. He's really at work. We just don't see him at work. When God doesn't answer, James said we may ask amiss, or we don't ask in faith. And God doesn't just hear prayers, he hears desperate prayers asked in faith. But there have been times we know, God, this is your will. We've prayed in faith, but still, God doesn't seem to answer. So what's up with that? What is that? What's going on? And the reasoning for this is something deeper. Our prayers are more than just getting answers. Our prayers make certain that we're connected to the vine, that our lifeline is intact. For when prayers go unanswered, hear me carefully, when prayers seem to go unanswered, oh, I want you to catch this, then perhaps God is making you and me, God is making us the answer to our prayers. Oh my, oh my. In other words, when you and I see a need and we ask God to meet that need, quite often God says, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to meet that need through you. I will make you the answer to your prayer. It's one of the most profound and beautiful answers to any prayers is that when God permits us to see something and something radically touches our heart and we just can't get away from it and we start praying about it, it's as we pray and seek God that God begins to prepare you and me to be the answer to our prayer. Your prayers prepare you to be the answer to your very own prayer. Yeah, that's profound, folks. How does it happen? I've seen it happen so many times, and so have you. I mean, think about an instance where God's brought a difficulty to your path, and in the midst of that difficulty, you realize nobody's answering it, nobody's standing in the gap, and you step forward, you see some new aspect of God's character. You find his grace, his loving kindness, and that glimpse of God and that grace from God prompts you to do something that you ordinarily wouldn't do. You become the answer to your own prayer. As Paul said, we are afflicted in every way, not Christ, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, not forsaken, struck down, but we're not destroyed. So we don't lose hope. We are praying prayers that when God doesn't seem to answer them, he really is answering them, just not the way that we anticipated. He answers our prayer. He doesn't change the situation. He changes us. It was a prayer prayed by a Civil War soldier. I asked for strength that I might achieve, but I was made weak that I might learn humbly to obey. I asked for health that I might do greater things, but I was given infirmity that I might do better things. I asked for riches that I might be happy. I was given poverty that I may be wise. I asked for power that I might have the praise of men. I was given weakness that I might feel the need of God. I asked for all the things that I might enjoy life, but I was given life that I may learn to enjoy all things. I got nothing that I asked for, but everything I'd hoped for. And almost despite myself, my unspoken prayers were answered, and I am among all men most richly blessed. You see, we want the answer to come from without, but God seeks to bring the change within. And God works this through us. He works it through us. Put together a collage of your life. Pull together the scrapbook of your family or your church family or even this nation's history. And again, you're going to see that born in the heart of men and women who have gone through great adversity, spend some time in trials and affliction and suffering, that it was through their prayers and through looking to God that God changed them. God worked through them. God made something out of them. I just want you to ask yourself right now, how is God preparing me? How is God preparing me? Well, you can see some resemblance of that when you look to the past. You get a good idea. He prepared Esther through her natural giftings and through her strong relationships. He prepared Mary by a face to face encounter with heaven and then by meeting her future husband as well. He prepared Daniel by placing within him a strong faith, a resilience and supernatural giftings. He prepared Paul to be the answer to his prayer with great learning and insight and encounter on the Damascus road. He prepared David to be the answer for Israel's prayer through the seeming ordinary task of being a shepherd to be prepared to fight Goliath. He prepared Moses in Pharaoh's household. And then on the backside of a desert, you see, whom God will use as an answer to prayer, God will patiently prepare. I'm not going to give you 17 things God's going to do to prepare you. I'm sort of weary of the Pinterest billboard mentality that can summarize the complex in 3 easy steps. I don't want to give you a supposed simple recipe or a cookbook to be the person God wants us to be. We're individuals and God speaks with us individually. He knows my frame. He knows your frame. He knows who we are, where we are, what it takes to prepare each and every one of us. I was speaking yesterday about how a rich young ruler was given an all or nothing declaration for Jesus: sell all, walk away from all. He didn't do that to the apostles. He called them. They left their nets, they left their homes, but they still possessed them. He didn't do that to Nicodemus or Joseph of Arimathea. They had great wealth and riches. He didn't do that to Lazarus, Mary, and Martha, but to this rich young man, he did. Why? Because he saw that young man's heart. He saw the unique pull that his wealth, his abilities, his resources had on him. He saw that he couldn't become who he could be without parting ways with his possessions. In other words, Jesus saw with that rich young man, he didn't own his possessions owned him. And there will only be one Lord in our life, and that Lord is not named Mammon. Oh, can I get a witness to that? So how does God prepare us? He prepares us individually. He knows our frame. He works with us first in ways that are completely unique to us. How God speaks to us, how God redirects us. It's unique to each one of us. But there are some common themes of how God works with you. He knows your frame. He knows your issues. He works with you individually. Jesus told Simon Peter what he would do to make him an answer to his prayers. Simon Peter didn't really like it because Jesus just prophesied that a not too good future for him. But then he pointed at John and said, "What about him? What are you going to do to him?" And Jesus answered with a question: "What does that matter to you?" In other words, God works with each of us. He's doing something in you to work out his own good pleasure. He is working his will for your life. So he works individually first. Second, he works on many different planes at one time. He works at many areas of your life at the same time. We're not too good at multitasking, but God is. He's got you right now in a variety of learning and growing situation where he's stretching your faith, strengthening your roots, nourishing your inner man, lengthening your cords, deepening your tent stakes so that the place of your inhabitation may be enlarged. He's working in a variety of different ways. And third, I would say this about how God prepares you to be the answer to your prayer. Time is going to pass before you'll understand. God works with grace, truth, and time. You will never really know beforehand why God is doing what he's doing, or even exactly what he is doing. It will only make sense when you realize that what you prayed about, he prepared you to be the answer. The fourth way God makes you to be answer, let me mention this last one. Don't obsess over the details. Don't get lost in trying to figure it out. Rest in the hands of God, that God is transforming you and changing you. When you don't get an answer to prayer, hear me carefully, then God may be making you to be the answer to that prayer. Let me close with this. The book of Job, it's got his name on it, so we probably think he wrote it, but he didn't write it. The book has details of his death, so obviously didn't write it. Some scholars, Jewish and Christian, believe Moses wrote the book while on the wilderness journey. Others believe Elihu, that fourth friend, the young man who addressed Job at the close, wrote it. People don't really know who wrote it, but all are in agreement that Job did not write it. And that, to me, is profound. You see, in the book of Job, we see the curtain pulled back in heaven, and we see how God permitted bad things to happen to Job, how Satan, for the moment and for a season, seemed to gain the upper hand. We know how Job's trials originated, but there's no evidence that Job ever knew. Even at the close, Job's questions were never answered. In fact, God confronts Job with questions of his own. We're not really wanting questions. We want God to answer. We want God to answer. But the book of Job teaches us we may not get all of the answers. In fact, some of the answers that are the most profound are reserved in heaven to be revealed to us in the days to come or in the life to come. But here's what we do know of God, is that when we don't get an answer, he may be making us to be the answer to our own prayers. So can I give you a word of encouragement today? If you have prayed and the light, it hasn't turned green, and you're in the waiting room of faith, then know this: God is at work, and God is working in ways that you and I we do not understand. But when he's finished, Scott, Yolanda, Barbara, Patricia, LaWanda, Karen, when he's finished, the answer will be revealed, and you'll be looking at that answer in the mirror, because there's a good chance God is making you the answer to your prayers. As we enter this time where we close out this morning devotion, would you do this? Would you share it with someone else? Would you like the page, share the page, follow the page, but do more. Leave your prayer requests, encourage one another, pray for one another, pray specifically, God, let me be the answer to the need that I see. Equip me and grow me that I might become the person you want me to be. I look forward to being with you every day this week, if that is possible, with this storm. May God bless you, and may God be with you today. Thank you for being a part of this family.
Thank you for listening to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Join us next time for another inspiring devotion. To support this ministry, please visit firstchurch.com/give.